Hello and welcome to another SVU live stream. I'm Coach Kev. I'm here with J Moff. What's up, J Moff?
What's up, Kev? How you doing?
Doing fantastic. We are here with a League of Legends match. Our NAICS boys going up against Johns Hopkins University. They are 1-0. Both teams 1-0, looking to make it 2-0 here today. This is going to be a best of three. So we'll have to see how they do. We already jumping into draft, so let's head it over to that.
So, Kev, what do we think here?
So it's already looking pretty good here for SVU with the Vi pick, the Victor pick. You're going to see SVU on the red side here on the right of your screen. But the Wukong, Zach, and Vex, I'm thinking Engage here from Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, they're going to jump in hard. You know, Zach can do it from real far away. Vex can follow up easy enough, too, so...
Yeah, and there's the Jinx. Really like that pick. Jinx super strong in the meta, and so is Caitlyn. So we got the two best AD carries right now in this game. One's very lane dominant, while the other one's very scaling with the Jinx. So late game here, I definitely think SVU has it favored with the Victor Jinx damage, but they're going to have to survive laning phase.
They have to survive laning phase, for sure. We see the Scion top lane, which can scale really hard, be a really big boy. I'd love to see how that goes. We saw... Scorpy do some fun things last time we played here, for those who were catching up from last time. So I'd love to see how you can pull that off.
Yeah, this is going to be a great game. Last time we saw them, we've only seen these guys once. We did see the win here coming out. And like you said, Scorpy, I remember him on the Kled. Locker was doing great things as well, really stepping up there in the mid lane. So we'll have to see what they do today up against this really good lineup here from Johns Hopkins. One of the best teams in our bracket, so we'll have to see how our boys do against them. But I really like, Seething on the Nautilus. We've seen that pick. You got Hooks versus Hooks in bot lane. So pretty interesting early game. I think Vi has a better early game here than Zach. Definitely a better duelist. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and you're talking about the bot lane, Kev. We saw, last time these guys played really strong level 2 from SVU's side. But that's something we think to watch out from Johns Hopkins here as well. How do you think that's gonna play early?
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think Vi could do something cheeky early. I think Zach's probably gonna do a full clear. He might do, his early E range just isn't far enough to do anything too crazy that he wants to do. Especially with the long range of the Victor and the Jinx. I don't think they'll be in too much of danger, but you never know with Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank can make something happen level 1, and let's see if there's any invade shenanigans.
Yeah, Rome, we saw some dangerous Nautilus roams. Same thing goes for Blitzcrank here too, I suppose, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we're going to let the guys load up here. So, thank you all for tuning in today. We're getting off to a quick start here today. We're going to be starting our streams in the future, probably 15 minutes or so before the stream actually starts, just to get you guys introduced to what's going on. And then we'll get into the game here right at the game time start. So in the future, if you want to show up early, feel free to do so. And we will be having a little pregame of what's to come, just to give you guys a little bit more context into the game.
And for those of you that don't know, Kev, can they find updates for all that kind of stuff when stream time starting and stuff like that on Instagram?
Yeah, so that's on the Instagram, Coach Kev SVU. Make sure you follow that for all the updates, because we do have kind of a crazy schedule here with all the teams we do have. They're all going in and out of our gaming facility, and so we might have to change times, coordinating with other teams. So while we do have the matches pretty well in advance, what they should be, they could change at any moment. So please stay tuned onto the Instagram for those updates.
And that being said, what other streams do we have coming up this week too?
So tomorrow night, you guys aren't going to want to miss the other League of Legends team going into the CLOL tournament. That's going to be a fantastic game tomorrow. That'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you tune into that. That'll be an exciting one. And then there'll be another stream on Saturday, 4 o'clock. Same guys. So awesome. It's got a couple more streams this week. And then next week, we'll get back to it. So make sure you guys tune into all those.
Well, cool. Getting ready to jump in here, 40 seconds away on our spectator delay. I really enjoyed watching this team last time they played. For those of you who missed it, it was super fun. I think we went 1-2, took the series. Yeah,
it was really, really good. It was a really good series. I think it was a 2-0.
Was it a 2-0?
I think it was. It was just really close. But the boys did pull it out in the end. That second game was a nail biter, but fantastic job by them last week. So they're hoping to ride that momentum here. And we'd love to see Victor here for Locker. I want to see what he does with that pick because we've seen him on this champion before, and Victor is pretty meta right now, so that'll be fun to watch, especially him going up in the mid lane against this John Hopkins lineup. So
yeah, Locker, you guys know, one of our more experienced players on this team, and definitely shows it with the Victor. A lot of time on Victor.
Yeah, so we'll see how that rolls up here. So, Josh, you're a jungler. What do you think about this Vi-Zach matchup? How do you think this is going to play out here in the early game? Because we often see the junglers having the most impact early game.
Yeah, you were talking about Vi doing something early. I'd love to see that too. P. Diddy can be very conservative sometimes and not risk too much for the biscuit. And sometimes I think that really ends up paying off places where a lot of people would say, hey, there's an opportunity here, and they could, feed the enemy or do something maybe a little too risky. But we'll see, what P. Diddy decides to do on Vi because, like you said, he has that early game strength. Looks like he got some cheeky...
Yeah, here's the level 1 we were talking about coming out of John Hopkins. John Hopkins going to be with the blue health bars there, while SVU Knights with the red health bars for this first game. John Hopkins looking for the hook here with the Blitzcrank Jink. Jink's in a dangerous position. Shouldn't really get into range, though. Everybody knows that Blitz hook range, even though they did extend it a while back. People have adapted.
Yeah, very dangerous. Get pulled. Free money right before the game even starts.
Yeah, but great defensive start here from SVU. Backing off, dropping the ward, not giving Blitzcrank an opportunity to get into the jungle without having to take severe risk. So good job by them surviving that level 1. More often than not, you see teams, get lazy and can really give up early kills, which can snowball lane, especially if it goes over to a Caitlyn. She gets an extra Doran's item or another longsword or something and just spells disaster for your bot lane. So.
Absolutely. So we see both sides, both teams starting on bot side for the best leash possible. I think this is good for Zach, right? Vi's going to maybe want to start something early, and Zach gets to start with that red buff, help him clear a little faster. And you can show up for the counter, which is really where you want to be to stop Vi momentum from being able to carry a game.
Exactly. We'll have to see what the Zach decides to do if he's going to do a full clear. I assume he will. He might do a cheeky gank here in the bot lane. But like you said, both starting bot side, so that means that they will meet at the top scuttle. And Vi should be favored into that fight, but you have to count in Prio. Big trade happening up top. Scorpy on the Scion. Here's Locker going in against the Vex. Getting all in. Vex did hit the fast level 2. Victor gonna trade back some autos, and a lot of damage going down top side. There's fighting across the board here, Josh. Both teams don't want to give anything. Good hook there by Seething, but level 2 is hit. Blitz is gonna flash in. He's gonna get the knockup. He's gonna get the hook. Will Man Ray have to flash? Yes, he does. He should be able to get out, but now Seething's in trouble, and it looks like they will survive that, so... Unlucky timing there by the Nautilus hitting the hook with level 2 getting hit by the Blitzcrank and the Caitlyn, but they did survive.
Yeah, great survival there. This is explosive level 2, whichever way it swung, I think, on either team. But really great job from SVU surviving right there.
Yeah, and you got to count the minions, 9 minions, to that level 2. So you got to make sure you keep that in mind at the level 1. Still not level 2 here. Oh, and he's going to get hooked against Seething. Still has his flash, though. Shouldn't be in too much danger, but he's going to hold it, and he might just die. No, that's the big brains of the Nautilus. Doesn't even need flash. Just walks out at 1 health. Calculated by Seething.
He knows how much health he's got. He knows.
That is an early plate, though, going over to the Caitlyn. And this is the abuse that you can see out of the Caitlyn. With her early range, with the damage, with the Piltover Peacemaker, she can really abuse the lane, and that's what she's doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So this mid lane matchup, I'm interested in what you think, Kev, because Vex is a kind of a relatively new champion still, right?
Yeah, Vex is new, pretty, especially to the competitive scene. Not much competition happening over the winter break, so Vex is going to bring a lot of follow-up engage to your team fight. Laning phase for Vex is pretty decent. It's not great, and Victor does have a lot of advantages that he can go for, but he is weak at these early stages. He just has his Q level 1, which is super strong, but Vex has a bunch of abilities. And here comes the all-in, possibly from Wukong. He's going to not be able to land it, though. So that's going to be flash burned by Scion. Oh, the flash in from the Vi. P. Diddy getting spicy there, but great reactions from the Wukong. He's going to survive. And no deaths yet, Josh. Things are evening out, but this is a crazy early game.
Yeah, no deaths and a lot of sums spent. So we're going to be seeing a lot happening here soon, I think.
Yeah, Scorpy does not want a town, does not want to have a bad back, but he might have to. And that's going to be first blood. He couldn't even get his shield on, so he is going to go down to the Wukong and not even be able to get him with the zombie. So Sion going to go down for first blood, and that's Wukong with the advantage.
Yeah, you got to be really careful getting too greedy when health's that low.
So we have a lot of minions here in mid lane. Locker looking to shove this in. What will he do with the prio? I'm assuming he's just going to get a reset off. Scuttles have already been claimed. Looked like there was a double scuttle here on the side of John Hopkins. And here's the hook. It's going to land onto Cool Man Ray. He does not have his flash, but there's a great counter hook from Seething. Can they get the kill? Yes, they do. They trade it back, and it goes to the Jinx. Fantastic job by Seething. Really CCing that guy under tower and getting that trade kill. Caitlyn does have her flash, should be able to escape that gank down there. And here comes a 1v1 in mid. Locker going up against Frozen Peak, but he can't quite get the kill. So close by him. That's a disadvantage of taking the teleport, is you don't have that combat summoner, but he still almost got the kill.
Yeah, that was awesome. Awesome play. You see that experience coming in from Locker, knowing how far he can push his limits. But we might be seeing a little bit of greed out of Frozen Peak here.
That's true. Frozen Peak, he does have that shield on his W, but it's not like it is in TFT. So he is going to be killable even if he gets it off. So we'll have to see what Locker decides to do here. You got to watch out for that Zac coming in out of Fog of War. Got to watch out for that Fear, both being low on mana. But there's level 6 from Locker. He could flash in with the R.
Got to be careful, though. We see that Blitzcrank roaming.
Blitzcrank is roaming up, and so if Locker's window of opportunity is diminishing, I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything. He is going to go in, but he should have used his ult, but he used his W instead. But Frozen Peak, he gets baited under turret, and that's a solo kill going over to Locker 74. Fantastic job by him.
Very well baited, very well baited. Some more action up top lane here.
Yeah, Scorpy, level 5 to the level 6 of the Wukong. Wukong denying him all these minions, freezing the wave right outside his turret. That's what you want to do as a top laner. So Vi is going to have to come up here, going to have to try to make a difference. But I don't know if they can take this Wukong. He has his Sheen. He has his level 6. He is a scary guy to have to deal with. And here's another hook, Blitzcrank. That super range. We see it again. Cool Man Ray should be able to escape this, though. Fantastic job using the heal, running away. Seething, doing a good job healing for his 80 carry. And good trading back here by SVU. So good job fighting in the bot lane. You love to see it.
Yeah, Seething putting a lot of work in as a support there to make sure that, the John Hopkins can't do anything without a cost.
And here comes a flash. Good flash there out of the Blitzcrank. They're not going to be able to do anything here. Or are they? Can Seething? Yes, he can. He gives them the anchor he wants to. Seething's going to be the carry of this game. Great job by him getting that trade kill onto the Caitlyn. So you love to see the fight here out of the bot lane from SVU. Even though they keep getting hooked, the aggressive play from John Hopkins is backfiring with that trade of a kill.
Yeah, super explosive. Only 7 minutes in, Kevin. Only 7 minutes in, 3 kills either side.
Yeah, almost a kill a minute right now. This is the kind of gameplay that we love to see. This is exciting. Both teams giving it to each other. We do see a gold lead here for John Hopkins, and that's where you'll see some of these high-ranking players maybe just have a little bit more CS, a little bit more lane knowledge right now, but never count our boys out. They know how to team fight, and they know how to come back in a game if they do fall behind anymore.
They really do. We saw it last time, We haven't really seen a whole lot of Zac action happening here, but we see him coming down to bot lane, maybe trying to take advantage of this Jinx who's all alone in lane.
Yeah, I gotta hand it to P. Diddy. He's really been showing up. I saw him show up for a couple gangs. They haven't done too much, but here you go. You had to say something. Zac is now on Cool Man Ray. Cool Man Ray is gonna have to flash, and he does. So he will survive. Gonna lose all his HP, but not completely all his HP.
Oh, and now we got the Vex roam coming down. Something real exciting. Real opportunity for Locker. Vex
gonna try to get all in here, but it looks like Vex is gonna die. Cool Man Ray is gonna pick that up, but the trade kill in the top side, we saw P. Diddy up there, but he did not have the confidence that the Wukong was gonna go in. A little lack of communication there, so they should have been able to counter gank the Wukong aggression, but they do get the kill in the bot lane with the Vex going in and getting hooked by Seething. Seething having a fantastic game.
Yeah, he really is. First draw is gonna go over to John Hopkins here for that awesome Zac roam, that gank down bottom.
Yeah.
Seen some bush shenanigans. Blitz gonna go for another hook here.
Yep, he's gonna go for another hook. Not gonna be able to get it. Vi doing a great job trading up topside jungle while the Zac got the dragon going for his Krug. So this is gonna be good for the Vi. Get these camps, rotate back to his jungle, get his sequencing going a little bit better. He's going to have to make sure they don't do the Herald while he's farming top to bot, but Great job by him recognizing that he can take those camps. Seething going to get caught here by the hook. He's not going to be able to get out of this one. I don't think he's going to hook the wall. And will he live? No, he just barely goes down. And you hate to see that. He just sits down there by himself. If he had waited for Jinx a little bit more, they could have turned that into a couple kills, but just got hooked a little too early.
Yeah, and it's a tough spot to be in. We're seeing a lot of, all the level 6s are up now, right? So we're seeing a lot of ults here fight, especially from our junglers, so I don't think we've had a whole lot of opportunity yet. Herald's going to get taken away by SVU here shortly.
Yeah, Vi's working on the Herald there. Should be able to get that. And that's a pretty good trade. It's pretty early Herald. Not the earliest I've ever seen, but it's going to be nice. They should be able to get some plates with that. Be able to make something happen, but he is getting caught out here. Here comes Zach. He's going to have to dodge that. Can't quite get to the wall, so he's probably going to go down here. And yes, that's where you need to see the roam up from your mid laner. Unable to match the Vex roam, and Vi just not expecting that amount of pressure. Comes Zach topside. They're really trying to keep this Sion down, but the beauty of Sion is you can't keep him down forever. He is very annoying.
And he's got a lot of health to boot.
Yeah. So this could be some kills here in bot lane. Seething might want to go in here. He plays it a little too far back, lets his AD carry get killed. I think they could have won that, so they need. I think they need to be a little bit more aggressive there in bot side. Does he have a shield? No. That's gonna be 2 kills going over to the side of John Hopkins, and that 2v2 starting to turn in favor of the enemy team.
Yeah, like you said, that's scary as a Caitlyn, right? The snowball potential could start taking this game away.
Yeah, so it looks like they will get this first tower too. That's a lot of plates going over into the hands of Caitlyn. Here comes Vi looking for the kill onto the Blitz. Will get it, and that ends up being a shutdown. So a little bit extra gold in his pockets. Locker looks like he might be having a connection issue or something. He's going to go down. So that's not looking good there in mid lane. That's Locker going down.
Yeah, SVU seeming to struggle these last couple fights here. Without the flashes to help him out after they all got spent.
Yeah, we're seeing a huge lead now here for John Hopkins. All across the board, it was back and forth there in the beginning of the game, but now it seems like it's pretty one-sided up to this point. So SVU is going to have to hold on, wait for some item spikes, and see if they can get a good team fight, because their comp definitely is team fight, has the capabilities, but we're looking at a Wukong Vex, with a Zac flying in, so that's a lot of team fight there on the other side as well.
Yeah, and now's the time to be a little patient and just get ready for that next fight to come up, because there's no objects on the board. No need to force anything. Just like you said, got to get ready for that next engagement.
Yeah, so it looks like they're setting up Vision here. Dragon will be coming up in a couple minutes. We do have that Rift Herald though, so let's see what P Diddy does with that. If he can get good usage out of it, he should be able to get this gold lead back a little bit. But this is going to be Locker going down because Caitlyn already has her Gale Force, so Seething trying to get a trade kill here. Here comes P. Diddy. Can he get onto her? Yes, he's going to flash in. He's going to get the hit. And here comes Zach flying in, trying to defend his Blitzcrank, who's going to hook Seething under the tower. Seething not going to be able to get out. He doesn't have his shield quite up. No, and he's going to go down. So it is a 2-for-1 there in mid lane. But good job by P. Diddy getting that shutdown on the Caitlyn. That's going to be a lot of gold for him.
Yeah, and by taking all those goals, it's going to be a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility on him to be carrying a lot of the team. If you don't have gold, you can't do a whole lot, right?
Yeah, and here's the 1v1. Wukong doing a great job interrupting the Sion ult. He does Q a minion, though. That's not very good, but should be able to get this kill unless Sion has a shield, and he does not. So he does get the flash out of the Wukong, but will go down. So Wukong really doing a number on the Sion early, and that's where you see Sion can be a little weak early. And when you have that early Divine Sunder on the Wukong, that's good for him. And here comes it all in here. Vex and Zac going in hard. They're just exploding them, and that's the Vex ult. That's what we were talking about. You got to worry about it. But Locker's here. Can he get anything back? He does not have his ultimate, so he's unable to get either of those kills. Vex is going to go back in with her reset, but she will get killed. Traded back to Victor. Good job by Locker getting that one back.
Yeah, you love to see the Zac passive get eaten up there too, but barely going to survive. He's a tanky boy as well. Caitlyn going to take some plates here from mid.
Yeah, and we're seeing Zac and Wukong are really standout guys right now, both having those bounties on their head. 5-0 on the Zac. His ganks are really doing well. It seems like anytime he shows up, kills are received on his end. So here comes Dragon. They're going to get this other turret here. SVU needs to kind of just start wave clearing, start getting their lanes figured out because they're falling behind.
See the Herald get popped top, time's running out. Vi's going to try and make something happen here since it's there.
Yeah, looking for the Wukong here. That's going to be him right there. Does Vi have his ult? Yes, he's going to pop it. Wukong has no flash, has no ult, but he is just too strong. The Divine Sunderer spike is just too much. Neither Vi nor Sion had their first completed big item, so Wukong with the Mythic is just going to do too much to be able to defend that tower.
Yeah, and that sucks as Vi. You really want to be snowballing, taking a lead. Blitz going to get another great hook on Nautilus here, and Zach's diving in. That's going to be the kill.
Yeah, the Blitzcrank is just doesn't seem to miss too often. 7 assists for him. He's doing a fantastic job, and Wukong's still running amok here in top lane. So SVU is going to have to really start, playing defensive now, because this could get crazy real quick. They're already down, 7,000 gold. They need to just kind of farm up, wait till they have some mythics. They finally get their mythics on the Vi, on the Victor, and on the Scion. So they need to get one on the Jinx, and maybe they can do something if they can get some picks.
Yeah, at this point, each fight becomes more important, right? Falling farther behind, you lose the game even more, and you just don't want to see that happen. Beck's really been very aggressive this game, and it's paid off, I think, more often than not. You love to see it.
Yeah, and you really want to see them really bait the aggression here out of John Hopkins. This lineup with the Wukong, Zac, and Vex definitely wants to go hard. But they can use that to their advantage, SVU can, if they bait it, if they draw them in too far under the turret, have a plan, have someone in Fog of War, and they are picking some cheese. There's a good use of the scanner there to see her over the wall without her knowing, and that's a good pick, and that's exactly what SVU needs to do to get back in this game, is look for picks just like that.
Yeah, like you're saying, be sneaky. I mean, that's awesome. Really well played.
Yeah, so that's going to be a little bit of gold back in their pockets. Vi does have the Sunderer now, looking to get some more items here. But you got to watch out for the Zac. He's going for the Medjais there, so Zac does do a surprising amount of damage, especially if he gets rolling early and is ahead of the game experience-wise. So he could be flying out of nowhere, and that's going to be a scary sight to see him flying over the wall.
Yeah, it is. Every time Zac comes out on screen from who knows where, you got to have a little bit of panic attack if you're on the other team.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how it looks here. Wukong still abusing the side lane here. Hasn't quite teamed up with his team for any team fights, but hasn't really had to. So SVU kind of cutting into that gold lead there, which is good. Scion not going to want any of this, though. He might have to ult out, might have to just walk out. But the rest of SVU coming up, so looks like Zac's going to turn tail.
Yeah, that's a smart play. You don't want to give shut down to a team that you've been putting behind this far. Exactly.
You don't want to give anything free over to the SVU, because while they may have lost the advantage here in the early game, they can still team fight. And here come, this looks like 2 kills, possibly going over to John Hopkins. Can they get out? Man Ray gonna flash late, and Victor just doesn't have enough. He can't survive, and that's the Zac, exactly what we were talking about. He comes out of seemingly nowhere. He was just top. All of a sudden, he's mid, jumping on the 2 carries of SVU.
Yeah, and that's frustrating as SVU, right? Because your team is just so close and almost there, but they're not close enough to rotate, and you can't really even kite to them because Hopkins is able to jump on you from super far away or grab you back. It's a tough spot to be.
Exactly. So, and they're looking to focus this Vex. Vex not having a very good game. 1-4, the only member here of John Hopkins not doing so well, but Scion trying to abuse that, but unable to get the kill there. So SVU looking to just defend this mid inhib. It's hard with the Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank, this is what he provides. All this threat range of his Q, he can just walk up, hit the tower, and they can't really approach until they have a tank. But the problem is, the tanks aren't tanky yet, Josh.
No, it takes time.
So we'll see what they can defend here. Caitlyn with abusing that range, using her traps, trying to get some chip damage onto that mid tower. Here comes Seething, though, with a good flank. Can he get the hook? Yes, he does. Will he expend the ultimate? He might have to. Trying to get onto the Caitlyn, I believe. There goes Vi, gonna hit the ultimate onto the Caitlyn, and it buffers the Q there, Blitzcrank. Vi trying to get the Caitlyn, but might not have the damage. Cool Man Ray going in as well, but he does not have enough because Zac showed up, and that was a desperation play from SVU. You like to see the attempt, but they just didn't have enough damage.
Yeah, when you're this far behind, you're not gonna have the damage back to boot. Any plays like that, it just gives Hopkins so much time to rotate. Zac came in off of bot side, 15, 20 seconds after the fight started, almost seemed like. So tough to be this far behind, but it's important, I think, for SVU here to keep a good mental. Say, okay, we lost early. What's happening now? There's a huge gold lead that we've lost. So
exactly,
stay healthy mental, right? That's important to these guys.
Yeah, I mean, it is a best of 3. This is just game 1, and they did really well early on. They're scrapping back and forth. And they just in a little bit, once the ults started coming in, once the item spikes were kind of coming in, SVU's kind of got a little bit disorganized, some misplays mechanically, some laning troubles, and that happens, and League's the type of game that once you fall behind, you got to make perfect decisions, because if you don't, things like this happen where it just snowballs against you. So SVU's still scrapping, still trying to get some kills, but they're going to have to stall this one for a long time if they want to get the win.
Absolutely. Sion not really having a chance to come back online yet. Like you were saying, it takes time to get tanky. We saw Seething have a really strong early game. So, we'd like to see that again out of another game here. But SVU holding on for now. Lost 2 inhibs. They're going to lose this dragon here. Zach's taking it. But let's put Soul Point. So, there's going to be a for sure fight if SVU wants to try and take something there. There's a few options left, and we'll see what SVU can make out of it.
Yeah, they still have, they got the Gale Force on the Jinx, they got the Ludens on the Victor, so they can get some picks. We saw them get some picks, especially on the Vex if she overextends with the ultimate. A very common thing you see from Vex is, and she doesn't have the Zanyas yet or anything like that, so if she goes in, she's very vulnerable to die, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that.
Alright. Tower going over to Sion there, get a little bit of comeback gold, but we're seeing a Baron get started by John Hopkins here. Recon coming from behind. Not a lot I think SVU can do about this. Sion just going to keep pushing. SVU's got to respond to the super minions, clean up waves back in base. So we'll see.
Yeah, and here goes the Baron. This should be going over to John Hopkins, and they're probably going to look to try to end the game here, but and they very well could have. Sion trying to stall, trying to get some pressure here in the side lane, but just unable to do so. He doesn't have his items quite yet. He needs that Hull Breaker if he wants to split push like that. And this is where SVU is going to have to make their last stand. But luckily, this is only game 1, remember. So we still have 2 games to come back, win this best of 3. So SVU looking to hold this Victor, going to go down. Got sniped by the Vex ult. Vex finally getting into the fight here. And it looks like SVU is going to get run over here. The Wukong just way too strong. Zach's too strong. And the engage is too strong out of John Hopkins. And that's going to be game 1 going over to their side. And game 2, SVU is going to have to make some adjustments.
Yeah, no, I think for sure, right? Like you said, we saw some pretty good early game out of SVU. But some really strong synergy out of John Hopkins with some of their champs. And we'll see how SVU responds.
Yeah, so give us a few minutes, and we will be back here with Game 2. Make sure you put your rally caps on, because we're ready to rally 2-0 to get to reverse sweep. Hello, and we're back with game number 2, John Hopkins versus SVU Knights. Let's see what they are bringing, J-Moth.
Yeah, we just got out of a really good game one. John Hopkins was able to snowball a lead that they took away from SVU and take the first victory. But game two, what adjustments do you think SVU is going to make here?
So we are seeing a substitution here by the Knights. They're taking out Scorpy, the rookie. They're putting in Not Expected. And we'll see what he can do in the top lane. So that's an interesting call there, bringing in a sub after game one.
Yeah, it's safe to say that nobody expected that one.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how that changes things here for the SVU lineup. But I think bringing in some fresh legs, is a good sign here. Maybe Scorpy did have a rough game. We saw that against the Wukong. Maybe he's tilted. Maybe he just, needed a break. But we'll see how this changes things up. And that's an early Poppy pick here for SVU.
Yeah. That mental is super, super important. But a Poppy, do you think that's going to be a top lane Poppy or a jungle Poppy here?
Well, with the Amumu pickup, I think it's going to be a top lane Poppy. So SVU is going to be on the blue side this time, just for everyone paying attention. And there's the Rumble Lockers, tried and true, the P. Diddy Locker Rumble Amumu combo, seen by many, feared by many, banned almost exclusively last season. They're back on it.
Yeah, you love to see Locker on some of his more comfortable champs that he's played a lot with. But we're going to take a Kiana pick, which I think is interesting here, Kev.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. Mordekaiser jungle, Kiana set. Kiana might have to be a lot of the engage here for John Hopkins because Mordekaiser and set both don't have any mobility, besides a little movement speed. So they're going to be struggling to get fights here. But with this lineup from SVU, they might just go in with the Mumu and the Rumble. We'll see what they pick here for seething, but this is going to be an explosive one, and I expect nothing left after game one.
Yeah, and we saw John Hopkins take advantage of a lot of their abilities where they were able to communicate together and everybody jump in at once, kill SVU. But as much as they can do that with Sed or Kiana, and as much as they can do that here, SVU can play into that a little bit themselves. They got the Poppy, which can deal with dashes. Amumu, if you jump on Amumu and he's got hold up, well, you're just going to be stuck there for a second and die, right? A Rumble can drop a big bomb on you, the Misfortune. So a lot of interesting stuff out of both teams here. Could be a lot of explosive team play out of either side.
And there's the Misfortune and Leona, the redhead bot lane, rounding out the comp with the further Wombology. So we'll see how that plays out here in this game number 2. This comp from SVU definitely changing things up, going for a more team fight, but we didn't really even see any team fights there in game 1, so they're going to have to make some adjustments in the laning phase, play a little safer, not opt into as many fights. But without the Blitzcrank, without the Zac, without even the Wukong, John Hopkins isn't going to be able to force like they did in game 1.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think the Mordekaiser jungle pick is becoming a little bit more popular, I think, over time, but it's still kind of niche, right?
It is
kind of an odd one.
Yeah, you don't see it much. He does have really good clear. He just is a little bit slow walking around. He can't go over walls. So that is a problem. He can kill the camps pretty decently, but it's hard for him to get around the map. So we'll have to see how that plays out. He does have the ultimate, but it's not something you want to do when you're doing an objective because you have the smite, So if you ult out, you're not going to be able to smite, so you're kind of countering yourself at that point. But I don't think they're too worried about that. They want to just get in there and brawl. The set Mordekaiser, Kiana going to be going in. Morgana, Jinx going to be doing DPS from afar. So we'll see if anything can happen on the SVU side to defend that.
Yeah, and to that Mordekaiser Mumu matchup, Mordekaiser does have at least late game got the damage on Amumu, right?
Yeah.
And Amumu's going to have to play around after, Poppy's only got damage for so long. Eventually he's gonna have to gank around where there's damage. And so, hopefully Poppy can get early lead and that won't be such a problem. P. Diddy loves an early play top, like we saw last game, but we'll see. How do you think this mid lane is going to go?
Well, judging by game number 1, was really not impressed with Frozen Peak. I think he was maybe off his game, maybe a little bit of nerves there by him. He was not playing well with the Vex early on. Locker 74 doing a good job fighting out that mid lane. So I want to see if he's able to use this Kiana better. Kiana very weak, levels 1 and 2, very, very weak. But level 3, like most assassins, she kind of gets online, can do some good trades with the Rumble. But they're going to be going back and forth. Rumble definitely has easier ult access with the with the Amumu setting him up and the Leona, Kiana's going to have to get close in order to get good ults off. So we'll have to see if they abuse that vision, because if Kiana doesn't have vision, if she can't find a good angle, she's really hard to team fight with.
Yeah, I could see that making a lot of sense too. I think around objectives though, it'll be a lot easier with so many walls around, right? Because that's where her CC comes in.
Exactly, and in the river, so she's pretty well off there if they fight at the dragons. But laning phase, I do give it to Locker early on. We'll see if the Kiana does get an advantage, because if Kiana gets rolling, once she gets that first item, gets some lethality, she really does a ton of damage. And Rumble doesn't have any good way to wave clear from a distance, so he's just going to be up there flamethrowering, trying to do what he can.
Bot lane, level 2. We saw John Hopkins able to kind of take an early lead, get some trade going. Weren't able to get the kills, but how do you think this bot lane is going to play with the Leona now instead and MF going to the Jinx Morgana?
Yeah, so I think that this lane is pretty good here for SVU. Morgana, obviously a good pick into the Leona, being able to deny some of the CC, but only on one person. So if they pick their target selection well, Leona will still follow the E even when the person gets spell shielded. So she can just Q the opposite person. Misfortune, very good in the early game, very good lane bully. Shorter range than the Caitlyn, but still has a lot of damage with the Q. And is able to get that extra auto. And then once they get their ultimates, I favor Leona Misfortune highly in the 2v2. If they get any type of lockdown, any type of engage, that'll just decimate Jinx and Morgana. And Jinx Morgana ults are pretty nuanced. They're not as obvious.
Right. Big wombo potential out of SVU lane there. Looks like we're about to jump in here. Which comp overall do you feel like is going to take this early game? If you're looking at all lanes, the jungle matchups, everything taken in consideration.
So I think that the really early game, I think that SVU does have favored here. The Amumu, he might lose some duels over to the Mordekaiser, but that won't matter when your Rumble's getting Prio mid, because Prio mid means you have a 2v1 where they have a 1v2. So if Rumble can really get the Prio mid, play around the Amumu, and get some, get those scuttles, get those advanced vision, track the Mordekaiser, they'll be able to have a good early game. So we'll see how that plays out.
Compared to last game, we've got a nice fan spread here from both teams. Going to play a little bit more defensive than the Blitz was willing to last game. So not a whole lot of action quite yet until the minions get to lane, I don't think.
Yeah, Morgana, decent level 1, but definitely not the same as the Blitzcrank. So yeah, we're seeing kind of the same lineup here from both sides. Cool Man Ray going up against Kiana here. But should know she doesn't have Q if she has the W, the different colored blade, so she'll be able to trade into her if wanted to. But it looks like Amumu gonna start bot side. Most people like to do this, get that double leash from your bot lane, increase that clear speed, and Amumu is probably gonna go for a full clear into the top side.
For sure. One thing we didn't discuss, Kevin, I think it's probably one of the most important things. I've got to give the skin war over to SVU, I think.
Oh, definitely. I think, Rumble has the Spaceman Rumble. We got the Watermelon Amumu, and even this Poppy skin. I don't even know what it is, but it looks pretty cool. So, I agree with you. Is that base set? Or is that the new
I think
one?
that's the Obsidian Dragon set.
So, we'll see. So far, this game has the potential to be really explosive. I really like the team fight potential here from SVU. I hope they can get that far. Hope they can get through this laning phase better than they did after the good start. That little mid-game, early game was rough.
It was. We see a lot of MF damage coming out here. Some big stuff happening mid. Trading's going all over the place.
Here comes that level 2 bot again. They're going to hit the stun there onto the Misfortune. Misfortune trying to trade back, unable to do so. Leona, very ineffective level 1. Pretty much has the ability to either kill wards or just go in and do nothing else. So level 2 going to be picked up here. Going to get spell shielded out to Leona Q, but good trade back. So SVU in a decent position here. If they can hit the level 2, maybe they could all in the Morgana. They do still have the heal. They brought the Ignite there on the Leona, so they're going to want to thin out that wave before they try to do anything. Big trade here for Set, going in onto the Poppy. Poppy needs some levels, does have decent base damages. Good double up there by Misfortune. So let's see if Amumu wants to get involved here. Looks like I think they could win a fight down here. They want to get this cannon minion though, and there goes Seething going in, dropping the Ignite. but unable to get enough damage to pop. But they did get the heal out of the Jinx. Comes an all in from Set, but he does take some tower shots. He's going to heal up with his passive. So Poppy does survive. Good survive there. And there's a potion ticking on Set, so he's going to heal up. He might look for a dive here. Amumu might want to come up here. Mordekaiser looking to possibly come up here as well. There's the shield. Poppy's going to like that. But with that down, it looks like he will go down. Oh, he's not going to be able to dodge it. And First Blood again. Going over the top laner of John Hopkins, taking down the Poppy in 1v1 fashion.
Yeah, you got to expect that out of a Set. He can get that big juicy shield. He's going to be looking for those dives. Mordekaiser making a play mid lane here. Going to take a bunch of health off Locker. Not in a super dangerous spot, I think, but he does get the pull, loses some health for it as Mordekaiser makes his way down to double scuttle.
Yeah, going to be double scuttle again here. Amumu just a little bit too slow on his clear to be able to get to that scuttle up in the top side. So scuttle, less valuable than it was last season, but still that's extra objectives, extra gold, extra experience going over to the jungler here of John Hopkins. And he still did a full clear, so good job by him. He's going to reset and continue sequencing his camps. So we'll see what Amumu decides to do if he's able to get any ganks off. He might want to look bot lane, not sure. No summoners blown except for the one on Set, so he could go up there, try to abuse that. But they don't have a lot of damage with the Set Poppy.
Yeah, and the other thing that double scuttle means is that Rumble with that prio now is going to be a little extra eyes on him. I'm sure he wouldn't be roaming quite this early yet anyways, but that's there, right? The vision is there.
Yeah, so Rumble trying to farm up. He's going to trade into Kiana. That's Kiana's full trade pattern, so Locker should know he could trade into her a little bit more once Kiana uses the double Qs there with the W. Kind of runs out of damage. He's doing a ton of damage to that Kiana. I don't know if he's able to get it. Good trade here by Not Expected. Trading back into the Set, not getting deterred from that First Blood. Starting Corrupting now has the extra HP from the Ruby Crystal, so he's able to do a little bit more, able to have a little bit more of a health pool to fight back.
Bot lane looking a lot better than it did last game.
Yeah, bot lane looking good. Leona looking to try to make some plays here, but too big of a wave to trade into, so they're going to have to farm this up, going to have to lose possibly some plates. But Amumu is flanking around. He's going to go through vision here, but can Seething get the initiation? Seething playing way too far back. He's not deciding to go for it for some reason. Here comes the Amumu. Are they going to commit to this or not? They're waffling on this play, a huge wave, and they're just not going to go for it. So they kind of didn't want to give up that big wave, but Amumu didn't really know that, so he tried to get, at least he relieved some pressure. I think Seething could have initiated on that, could have gotten them at least maybe some flashes out from the bot lane of John Hopkins.
Yeah, you want the gold to the bot lane, but you're wasting that opportunity to get kills. That's not what you want to see if you're a Mumu right there, right? This is time I could have spent somewhere else.
Exactly, so we're going back and forth here in the top lane. Level 5 to level 6, though. Poppy going to want to get some of these minions. Going to want to level up here. Going to try to boot them back into the tower. Unable to do so. Going to take that true damage. Not too much here. Not a 1v1 that Amumu wants, but guess who's coming? Locker, his partner in crime, is showing up here to turn the tides, and they should be able to kill this guy. And yes, they do. Going over to P. Diddy. Fantastic job there by the mid laner here of SVU, roaming up, and that's a communication we didn't see in bot lane, but it happens with Locker and P. Diddy, the tri-duo, showing up once again.
Yeah, you love seeing Locker taking advantage of that prio that you were saying he's going to have. Kiana taking a peek down bot side too, not going to get anything from it, so Locker wins that situation.
Yeah, so we're seeing SVU doing pretty good in the early game here, slowing things down. It was very chaotic. What do we see? 6 kills at this point last game, 3 on each side. So now it's only 1-1. Game's a lot slower, and I think that favors SVU if their ability to get to team fights. If once they show up to the team fights in the mid game, that's where they really shine. Locker still has his flash, should be able to get out of this situation. He's going to get backed up. He might get ulted into the tower. No, Kiana opting to save her ult there. Probably a good call, but here comes P. Diddy, still level 5. Not sure what he's going to be able to do. Going to miss the bandage, so that's going to dissipate. Seeing a level lead here in the top lane for the Poppy. Level 7 on the level 6 of the set. So, that's a great job by him, keeping up in levels and even being ahead while giving up the first blood.
Yeah, especially after, like you said, the early troubles he was having in that set.
Looks like Dragon will go over at John Hopkins, having prio. They worked that prio in mid. They got it in bot lane, so they're going to collapse on this Misfortune, but Misfortune has that extra movement speed from her passive, so not too worried about it. He's going to be able to get out of that nicely. And that objective doesn't mean too much here, so we'll have to just see if the second one, SVU, is something they want to fight for, because that's when they'll have their items and their ults.
Yeah, Dragons, especially the first one, you see teams give it up all the time. It's not worth losing a game over,
Exactly, so if you're not ready to take it, you're not ready to contest it, just let it go, live to fight another day. Good double up there, going to get the bonus damage. Locker with the good juke. SVU really playing well this game. Maybe they were just a little bit nervous last game. Not expected. Going to get ulted into the tower. He's going to boot back the set, and there he goes. Going to have the lane to himself for a few seconds and back right off.
Yeah, an ult for an ult there.
Here goes Locker going in on the Kiana. Can he get the kill? Not quite. Kiana gonna live with a sliver, but a flash out here from the Jinx, and SVU's coming online. This is where, in the mid game, they could really do things, and this is what we're seeing. The lane's doing a lot more. Here's a flash in from Poppy, going in on the set. Amumu looking for the ulti. He does get on the set. Here comes a fatty shield out of the set, though. He's gonna flash backwards, and here comes Mordekaiser. Can they get the kill? I'm not sure. He's gonna get ulted out. The Amumu gets ulted out by the Mordekaiser, so he's unable to help, and that's gonna be 2 kills possibly going over to John Hopkins. A great attempt there by the Poppy, but just didn't have enough damage on the set in order to get the kill. Kind of wish she had her ult there.
Yeah, really well shielded by set. But that's what we were talking about, right? Poppy can do a lot of damage for a few minutes, and then you need items to help you out. So really great counter gank by Mordekaiser too. Set able to hold off long enough, get the shield. A lot of action in the bot lane here.
Going all in, trying to get that damage onto the Jinx, but just didn't have enough damage. Seething, unable to get in there. He just goes in a little late, doesn't use his flash. He probably should have used that at the beginning of the fight. Maybe if they used that with the Misfortune ult, they could have got some kills there. So we're still seeing some desync there in the bot lane, because they got to get that coordination together if they want to get these kills.
Yeah, so some fights lost. We see a small lead going over to John Hopkins, similar to last game, but it's a lot later than than the last game. So, like you're saying, SVU just trying to hold out, maintain relevance and gold to be able to get into some of these team fights where we've seen them shine before.
Yeah, so that's it almost was such an advantage here for SVU. They could have turned that 2v2 into a win. That would have been huge for them, but them losing it puts them in a very bad position here. They're going to lose that wave. They're going to be so upset that they could have turned that into something, and now it's nothing. Set waiting for his ult. It's going to be back up soon. There it is. He's going to try to get the 1v2. He's going to back off safely. Another gank by P. Diddy, but unable to get the kills, and that's where we're talking about. There's no damage up there, and they don't even have items yet, so they're not able to kill that set.
Yeah, and I think there's some mental involved here, maybe a little bit too, because Pop not expected doing such a good job with that Poppy avoiding the sweet spot of Set's big slam, big triangle slam, but it hit that time right, and Set can pin you against the wall, can make that pretty tricky. So great job on Set, staying confident, knowing his limits, but not gonna pay off for our little Mumu.
Yeah, so we'll see how things develop here in the mid game. This is really where SVU wants to be going into the mid game. They are down a bit of gold, which is unfortunate, but here comes possibly some kills here. But Mordekaiser's in the jungle, going to cancel the ult from Misfortune. Great job by him. It looks like he's going to single her out with the ultimate. She'll be able to bring her down. Amumu's here, and here comes Rumble. Rumble with a fantastic ult coming up behind. Can he get into the fight? Can he get any kills? They're living with a sliver. He needs to get over that wall, but he can't quite do it. He doesn't have his flash, so he's not able to join the fight in the way he wanted to. Good ult by him, but could not combo it with the Amumu, and it looks like he will go down as well. Very close there from SVU. A little bit more coordination, they could have turned that.
Yeah, and Mordekaiser being down there already, that's a tough place for mid lane to rotate, because
huge ult out of Amumu here. Can he gets one, can he get two? Yes, he'll get two and he'll live. Fantastic job, P. Diddy, the hero in bot lane, keeping SVU in this game.
That's awesome. That's exactly what you want to see out of that rotate counter gank. Coming to clean up a fight, even they don't have much damage as a Mumu, and that was really, really well played to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, fantastic job by him, making something out of nothing, keeping SVU in this game. Cool Man Ray looking to run down Mordekaiser, has the movement speed. Can he get the E? He's got up against the shield. He lives with 1 health, but it looks like they should be able to get this. And yes, Misfortune will pick up her kill onto the Mordekaiser. Great job by him. Here comes an ult in top lane. Poppy gonna go down, and that's where Set really starts to get abusive here. He just has so much damage with the base damages up a level now, and he just has too much for Poppy to handle.
Yeah, and being able to take her out of that tower like that, it's a really, really tough place for a Poppy to be in.
Yeah, so we'll see how things go here. Here comes a dragon coming up in 5 seconds. SVU might want to go for that, but they need to wait for the Amumu ult. They really need that as a catalyst for their team fight. And he's topside anyway, so John Hopkins might elect to take this Dragon. SVU looking possibly to engage on the Morgana. Yes, Morgana flashing in, going to engage on them, rather. So can they get the kill? Yes, they'll trade 1 for 1. Seething going to try to run out. Does not have his flash, though. Jinx probably going to run him down. He's going to try to stall it. He's going to go back in just to stall things off. But they do pick up 1 kill, but it's a 2 for 1. It's not what you want.
Yeah, especially as a bot lane that's already a little bit behind. You don't want to be feeding that Jinx anymore.
So we'll see here what John Hopkins wants to do. They might just start up this Dragon Rumble, trying to get Prio in mid. Poppy starting up the Rift Herald. So it looks like they will trade. And I kind of like that trade, Josh. Well, plates will be gone by the time they get it, I'm sure. That's a decent enough trade. Maybe they can get a tower, get some gold back, because they weren't really going to contest that Dragon anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I think gold is exactly what you got to be looking for here is with SVU with 5k down. Again, it's only second drag, right? You're not able to stack too many yet. You haven't gotten soul, so there is still a chance to fight for those in the future. And, you know, it's worth investing in those fights.
Here comes the count. I'm going to all-in locker, but she ran out of damage, so that's going to turn into nothing. Wasted ult there. Here comes Poppy, going to tackle him into the wall, Urlacher style. Here comes P. Diddy, going to use his ult, but the shield is still available for the set. It will come out, but it's not going to do too much. Can they bring him down? There is the Gore Drinker going to heal him up, and here comes his team. But here comes the Rumble ult. He's going to flash out of it, though, and live. So good fight there. Almost had him. Kiana gonna try to clean up P. Diddy, but Locker's there, gonna go help his teammate, and he will get the return kill. So it ends up being another 2 for 1. SVU staying alive, but losing gold.
You know, Locker doing a really good job coming to clean these fights. I'd love to see him, you know, be here earlier and actually start some of these fights too, because you know, Locker's the only one who I think who is really still in the game and has that carry potential of the gold and the damage to do so.
Yeah, I think the Locker Amumu combo can still do a lot if they can get a good fight, if they can get a multi-man ult from the Amumu into the multi-man ult from the Rumble. They could definitely turn some fights, so they just need to be patient, need to wait for their ults to come back up, and then look to be proactive like you were saying. Bot lane here. Close matchup in the bot lane. Doing a good job there. The CS is relatively even down there. Cool Man Ray doing a great job staying relevant, even though they did screw up a couple 2v2s. He's going to ult this wave, possibly get them. He does. He gets the Morgana. Seething looking to kill this guy as well. The Jinx is going to go down, and it's a double kill. The 2v2. Seething Cool Man Ray turn it around and get a 2v2.
That's huge for SVU there. We need to get that AC back online, right? You want to have that attack damage carry going in. Big fight coming up top lane.
Yeah, he's going to boot him out. Field goal is good. Get out of my face. Poppy, that's what you love about the champion, the disengage potential. Mumu looking to make something happen here. Here comes a lot of CC, but do they have any damage? They're going to get stunned up. Here comes Locker. Here comes the damage. He's going to hit the tail end of his ult onto the Kiana. Amumu still chasing, unable to hit the bandage toss, so that'll turn into nothing. They still have the Amumu ult, but they did use the Rumble ult there, so team fighting looking unlikely here for SVU. Top lane still a problem. 3-level difference here. Poppy very far behind the set at this point. Gonna have to turtle it up. Maybe she can still be relevant with the ultimate into the team fights, but this 1v1 is not going to be relevant anytime soon.
Yeah.
Here comes, you know, Dragon 2 minutes. I think that's where SVU could make their stand. They're a few thousand gold behind, but they get their first mythics online, get those ultimates. I think they can make something happen. You know, the Misfortune ult with the Rumble ult with the Amumu ult, if John Hopkins doesn't respect it, doesn't space accordingly, they could very much just die instantly. So we'll have to see if they're able to play around that. Mordekaiser looking for an ult here on the Misfortune possibly. No, he's going to take the Amumu into the Death Realm. So, but Seething's here, and they should be able to turn this if they can get down here. Here comes Locker with a good ult. He's melting the health bar of the Mordekaiser, but Mordekaiser's shield is just too much. They're running out of damage. Cool Man Ray not have his ultimate up, and without his ultimate, he just can't do anything. Amumu died in the Death Realm before being able to ult, so that's going to be a triple kill over to the Mordekaiser, and now he's going to be a huge threat for SVU.
Looks like that's going to take another one off top lane here. Poppy just suffering. We're taking 2 towers possibly here, second take top. You know, just as that was happening, I was going to say, Kev, you know, Mordekaiser's got to be looking to deal with that. Amumu, as you were saying, is such a catalyst, such a linchpin in SVU's ability to stack the Rumble and the MF ult. Amumu's really a huge threat, and really well played by Mordekaiser, deciding to take him out before he has that opportunity.
Yeah, and they got to be so frustrated here on the side of SVU with the Misfortune ult being seconds away from being off cooldown there in that fight. If she had it there, getting the 3-man ult, it would at least force them to disengage, but didn't have it up, didn't have the damage to follow up. Locker getting in a fight with Kiana. She kind of missed the ult, but still hits him. Here comes the rest of the squad here. Poppy good into the Kiana. Can deny the dashes, but can't quite get to her. Going on the set. They're splitting focus here. Can they get any damage follow-up? Good ult over the wall from Locker. Should be able to take down the set possibly. Here he comes. He does not have many options left. He has no flash, but he does have his Conqueror proc, and he's looking to get it. But there's a huge shutdown. Misfortune with the ulti over the wall. Gonna kill him. Seething, chasing the Kiana. Slices her down. So kills are getting traded back and forth. It's a 2 for 2 right now. And you like that if you're behind here like SVU's is, that at least they went even.
Yeah. You want to get any shutdown you can. Even trades, totally fine. And you're closer to base too, right? So you have that ability to back off with Useliona, just flash away from tower. So really well fought. Take set out of the game for a minute, which is good because he's very far ahead.
Yeah, so as you look in, they're probably going to have to give up this dragon here. Mumu has no ultimate. Misfortune has no ultimate. Without their ultimates, they do not want to fight. But luckily, this is not the soul, so it's no big deal giving this one up. They should just farm up, get that top wave, and look to all in at the next dragon. If they could do so, that would be huge. Locker trying to steal it there, trying to stall the game out a little bit more, give his boys some more time to get some items. But they are sitting on their 1 item spikes here, so they should be able to possibly win a fight if they can get a juicy one.
Yeah, we saw the power that you could have had there. They had just a little bit less split on their damage when they started stacking it. It was a lot of damage, right? The MF ult doing a lot. Coming online after a couple good bot lane kills, and now one in the jungle here. So, like you were saying, we'll see how SV decides to pick their fight, and if they pick the right one, could be completely back in this game here. 10k down can really suck, but it's not as big a lead as Hopkins had at this point in the last game, right?
Yeah, and we saw Amumu yoink the Krug there, and I gotta feel good as a jungler, Even if you're losing, you go in, yoink that, say thank you, come again, and move on. So he's still keeping it fresh, keeping it lively down there. Amumu always in this game, and that 3-0 start, P. Diddy was feeling good, but just unable to get the team fights he wants. Here comes an early Baron take. If SVU sniffs this out, this could be huge for them. They need Locker. They need everyone get up there and contest this. Kiana looking for the all-in. Gonna have to flash, but does get it. Here comes P. Diddy looking for the Q. Can't quite land it on her. He does have the crying on her face. Locker's going south, though, so they do cancel the TP from set, and they do possibly kill the Leona, or the Kiana. Yes, they do, but they're losing the 2v1 against the Mordekaiser, and unfortunate choices there. Locker, if he had come up to the north, they might have been able to get the team fight they wanted, but instead they give 2 kills over to the set, and you gotta kind of avoid this guy at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he is enormous, and he's got Baron minions to back him up with cannon rounds. Could be looking to take a tower, pulls P. Diddy out, and gonna make a little trade off him. He's just scary at this point. A lot of pressure mid now too, so gonna lose a lot for those fights.
Yeah. And I haven't quite seen the combo here from SVU yet. This is where they could see it in the mid lane, but they don't have their ultimates now. They wasted them in those skirmishes. So they're going to have to lose probably some towers and inhibs here before they can fight back. P. Diddy going to have to return to base, get healed up, get some mana. But once their next ult rotation, that might be their last one, so they gotta be patient with it. Locker gonna be into the death round with Mordekaiser, trying to survive, can't quite do it. Mordekaiser is just too strong, but no ults here for SVU, and without their ults, they can't fight. They're just too weak without them, and so they're gonna get swept over here. If they had their ults there, they probably could have won that fight, and that's just where they just were not patient enough to wait for the fight, forced it too hard to get picks, and it looks like this game could be going in the way of John Hopkins unless a miracle here happens, but they should be poised to take this one.
Yeah, well played by John Hopkins. I think SVU definitely had a stronger game, I think, than they did before. They made some adjustments, learned some things, but really solid play by John Hopkins, able to make their own mid-game adaptations and take this one away.
Yeah, it really was a great game. We knew coming in that SVU was looking at an underdog situation, but they played well. They definitely made some adjustments going into game 2, and they looked pretty good. The team fights never really happened the way they wanted to, and if they could have forced that a little harder, I think they could have turned some of those fights. But We saw some 2v2 kills in bot lane. We saw some solo kills in mid lane. So good job all around. P. Diddy starting out 3-0. Looking for him to shine this season from the jungle position, and not expected going into his first game. You got to assume he had a ton of nerves going in, but that's a good time to get him in, get his feet wet. Because later on, they might be subbing him in, more often depending on how he performs in practice. But great job by him showing up here and performing. And SVU now going to be 1-1 here in the NACE tournament. So their next match should be next Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Awesome, yeah, and SVU, you can't, like you said, can't be too disappointed about that. Hopefully they can keep their mental up, take some lessons away from this, and I'm sure they'll show us a good game as these last couple series have been on Tuesday.
Yeah, and so while y'all are still here, make sure you tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m., right here on the Twitch stream. It's going to be a fantastic game here. The other League of Legends team is going to be in a CLOL game tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you're here on the stream to watch that live. That'll be fantastic. Me and Josh will be here commentating as usual. It's going to be a good time, Josh.
Awesome, yeah. You can find all those updates on the Instagram. Kev will be posting those, and thank you for having me.
All right. Have a good night.